Hey everybody, today I'm chiming in on all the things that have changed. I've done so much and not a whole lot of filming. Updates on lots of tanks like that one, that one, and that one. There's lots of space. Yep, another row came out. Allowed us to put the 125 in. Dean helped me with that. Before we do fish or anything like that, we're actually thinking potentially turtle tank. The ones that I've bred in the past. If you guys have been around a long time, you've seen that they lay eggs, and you see a turtle swimming right there. So those guys wouldn't mind having something different. I can see an egg from here. You see that right there? That's an egg. But since I've moved, we've never set up the turtle tank. They have to lay those eggs on land. Or you basically have to see them lay the egg and pull it out. Unfortunately, that egg will have drowned. Someone's gonna eat it. That'll give more protein. They'll lay more eggs. It takes 3 months after they lay and all that, depending on temperature, but Dean, I tasked Dean with it. Dean gets away with murder, and so he's gonna go to an acrylic shop, like a Tap Plastics, and try to have them make basically a supersized version of our specimen container that will hang down. It'll have a cutout so they can get in right at the water level. A 10-gallon tank that's kind of suspended on a couple of the braces there. If we can pull that off, then get a nice piece of vinyl or tape or something to go across here so we don't see this ugly line that's going to develop, because I've got calcium, right? And ugly lines like this will happen on that glass. They're going to happen regardless, but we don't want to see it. It's going to look terrible. We do need to put some, gravel and, well, maybe sand, crushed coral a little bit, because it's not 100% stable year round, I've found. We've done some measuring, and we think this head height is going to be enough, because that's basically what they're in a tote like this. It's the same head height. So we think we can get it to work. If not, the tank that we're gonna put over here, we will have the hole drilled lower. Now, most of these totes are empty. The fishermen going to the store. So if you live locally, congrats to you buying our good fish. A lot of the lighting has changed in here. I probably haven't talked about this in a couple years, but this is a painting that my wife had commissioned for Christmas, I think. So Katie wears glasses. She's this mermaid wearing glasses. Here's me. There's even a filter on the tank. And then you've got Sassy in the middle, Wincy on the left with the tongue out, and then Tinky is a super small fish up there. Lighting the art. And then no other lights, because we switched to the Aquarium Co-Op lights. 50% of the reason is I want you guys to see how cool our lights are and buy them all. That is definitely part of it. Which, by the way, we put in power strips and everything. I don't think we ever filmed that day that Dean and I worked. And then the white power strips are for constant power. So we have a heater plugged in here. You guys saw me put this tank together. And then it's down here at 83 degrees. The lights that we have, you can see, we've had them a little more than 2 years now, I think. And unfortunately, they're failing at an incredible rate. So you can see that one's burned out, and that one's burned out. Uh-oh, spoiler alert. We're working on some sweet, sweet Aquarium Co-Op reusable bags that everyone's gonna love. We were working in this room, and we replaced all the lighting up top that had burnt out. In just a span of a week, 4 more are burnt out. So even though they're supposed to have a wicked long lifespan, they don't. Yeah, you can buy stuff on Amazon, but if it's a product meant to last a long time and it goes bad, it's a real pain. This is just some random Chinese company that owns it, and I'm not sure that they're gonna be receptive when I'm like, hey, you see the ones that are failing? I need like thousands of dollars back. But here's Ladybird. You might notice a lot of fish have come out. A lot of redecorating has gone on, a lot of algae scraping. A couple of new fish went in, so we've got, Ducky on duckweed patrol there. We had to take out over 10 pounds of clamshells in this corner. It was built up so high. Put a few rocks just to break it up a little bit. This is not its final form at all. You're looking at it going, yeah, I don't know, man, that doesn't look too good. And I'd be going, you're exactly right. This isn't the final form. I sprayed hydrogen peroxide on the black beard algae that was up top here, so that's why it looks weird and dead. Wherever we sprayed it along the back wall as well, it would run down. So when you see that lighter part right there, that's, hi Ladybird. Yeah, you hungry? That's hydrogen peroxide did that. We added some reticulated hillstream loaches. I think I only added 2 or 3. Because I have enjoyed those. They bred in the 800 gallon in the past, and he's working on algae. Perfect. Since we drained the water so low, the filter wouldn't start back up after 3 hours. We gave up, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna buy the solution. This has happened before. This thing's like 500 bucks, but it runs a big pump on the top. So this big pump right here. I don't love this filter, but it's gonna be good for what I need it for. The problem we run into, so I run an FX6 on the right-hand side and the left-hand side. And on the left-hand side, I've added some things. It's got a inline heater that, well, frankly, we don't plug in. And then it's got a UV sterilizer, which is that glowing thing right there. So anyway, back to lighting and kind of updates and working on things. Might put a new live stream setup over here. Once more of the overhead lighting is off, I think we're really gonna like it. And we're gonna put a couple of couches and a coffee table in there. How is the pearl weed filling in? It's not as fast as I would like, but you know what? I am liking it. So you can see here we added the teacup platies. Yes, we're running a sponge filter. Yes, we're getting purling. And yes, we're injecting CO2 right down there. People ask all the time, what gravel should I use? If money was no object, it's this. I would use this, and I really do like it. I like this and the sand that's in Ladybird's tank. It's super easy to gravel vac. You can see that, shrimp love to clean it. And yeah, I mean, they love to clean everything, but you can really just see them getting down there in those nooks and crannies, So what this plant does, by the way, it can grow just straight up, but it reaches out and then it starts grabbing on. So you can see that it's putting the roots down. And eventually that's just gonna spread all the way across and the whole bottom, and I'll be trimming. That'll encourage it to stay a little lower, but then also it encourages it to grow a little faster. Usually when you cut a stem plant and you make a cut, it then grows into two. And so the more you do that, the more bushy it'll get. Right now it's leggy. All right, what do we got over here? Oh, we went fish shopping, Steamfod Aquatics and I, a couple weeks ago. And we bought fish for the tank that's going inside our dining room. And so this tank is mostly for myself and my wife. We love glass catfish, so we bought a bunch of them. Silver hatchetfish, and a pair of gold Australian killies. Yeah, that guy's got a little bit of a thing going on with him. I hate glass cats in that how finicky they are to get healthy and everything at the beginning. But once they are, man, I really love this fish. There's no more albino crebensis, that needs to come down. Those have gone to the store at this point, the pairs that we had. Here we just have some Japanese leader-tail guppies that were in a tote that now go to the store. Algae, this will become a new tank to actually kind of focus on and play with. Still cranking out some babies over here in the longfin red bristlenose. You can see them on top of there and over there. I'm really enjoying having good lights. I kind of took it for granted when I had fluval lights on my tanks in the old fish room. Fluval lights are great. They're just more expensive than ours. I don't use the app functionality and that kind of stuff. Stingray lights are fine too. I used a lot of Stingrays in the store. Still would if I didn't have my own light. And so I don't want you guys to get the impression of like, that guy only thinks his stuff is good. That's not true. There's other good products out there. I just know I can stand behind mine. I get mine cheaper because I'm manufacturing them, obviously, so it makes sense. And it's my job to sell them. If you own a Fluval 3.0, don't replace it with ours. You're not gonna gain enough. Now, do I like the color better? I do. I don't like it like $100+ better, right? Especially if you had a whole fish room or something like that, but if I was buying a new one, right? So I just wanna make sure that it's not too much. All you do is talk about your lights and you don't talk about other ones, and it's mostly because it's my job too. Let's be real there. Another tank that needs to be gone through, I'm thinking about adding some flagfish to eat all this blackbeard algae and clean up the background. Maybe I will. But these are Metallicus livebearers, and kind of the bellies of the males get this nice black on them. I'll probably keep these around because they're an understated fish and they're just fun. And I want to develop them with like maybe half of the black on the belly. This is a tank that needs an overhaul. I'll probably swap out the substrate. My original goal with all these substrates, so you can see that I've got the stuff I like. You can see I've got the other stuff I like. This is what's in Ladybird's tank. This sand, which I don't like, and this black kind of eco-complete type of substrate that I don't like as much because it shows everything. The original goal was, let me show you how crappy these are so you'll stop making what I consider to be mistakes. And I just never did because I never made them look good and then showed you the challenges of like, oh, this is why I don't like these. This is why I don't, like this. Because I don't like seeing like all of this kind of stuff gets hidden. This kind of stuff gets hidden in this kind of gravel. And then we go down here and you see the fine sand again. You've got all these trout goodies, which is a rarer livebearer, Iliad and Furcidens, one of my faves. They get a lot of yellow and kind of look like a trout, right? And we've been making all these babies. And then here's that other pearl weed we've been showing off. But the pearl weed over there, when it's going at full blast, I'm gonna have to trim that thing every week. That doesn't seem like a lot when you have 1 tank, but when you have 25 tanks, that becomes a lot of work. You fall behind, it starts dying. Or something like this, it's gonna grow very, very slowly. These are supposed to be miniature rabbit snails, and they seem to have stayed small so far. And there's 3 cardinal shrimp in here, but boy howdy, I have never seen them. This is a shrimp that really likes to hide. I want more organic stuff. I put a wonder shell in there because these shrimp are upwards of $20 a piece with shipping. Because I failed at them twice, maybe even 3 times now, I'm not sure. I think it's twice. And I don't want to fail again. This tank, I think I've got a little bit of green water going on, is why it's a little hazy. The crypts are still looking good. They're slow growers, but they haven't jumped outside the pot yet. We're still waiting on that, but I'm patient. Some of the stuff back there is starting to really get big, and you know, where I planted them dense enough, you're not seeing the pots anymore. It's just where it's sparse. One of the videos that'll come up is we're gonna modify these glass tops so I can have a feeder kind of in the corner. The light can be a little more forward. It'll get a little bit more even spread. So here we've got Elmer. Elmer's looking for food. He hasn't been fed yet today. He's doing his turtle thing. We got rid of the lights from up above. So this is a 230-gallon tank. It's a little less than 7 feet. And we're only running 2 on here. And this is low to medium light, which I think is great because we don't have live plants. We added a few rocks. We took out the bubble wall. Still not where I think it could go, but it was a step in the right direction. And I don't want to get too elaborate and then have him get stuck or something and get hurt. And so, you know, we're just kind of playing easy. I did put a wonder shell in there to add a little bit of more element or minerals in there. Here's some extreme monster pellets. See if we'll get Elmer to come eat on camera here. In a perfect world, I'd have another light up front and these would be more lit up. You can see the color, but they are really magnificent if the light's right over them. The problem I run into is having like 25 aquariums I'm responsible for. If I put a light and the fish look amazing up front, it's gonna grow algae on the front acrylic. And then I gotta clean that before I can film. And pretty soon it's hours and hours of cleaning and not hours and hours of enjoying. So I'm willing to give up a little bit of the color to lessen the maintenance. Uh-oh, is that the big scary camera, Elmer? Oh, it is, I better run. See, he comes over to eat, but he doesn't like to be watched. I don't think anyone likes to be watched while they eat, but you can see I've got the blackbeard algae. I'm actually considering I could add some flagfish in here, and flagfish are great because they love to pull at that algae. I'm not convinced that I don't like it either. It's got that look, which you either love or hate it, but it's consuming waste out of there. Yeah, I have a cancer filter and we're water changing, but technically, do I want to take something that's positive right now and remove it? That I'm not sure about. I'm trying to make my setups a little more self-sustainable, and so I don't have to interact as much, because I want to sit here and talk about them and watch them and not so much elbow grease them. That's why I'm taking out tanks. A lot of you have said, like, why would you take these out? You just put them in. And my answer to that is, well, I lived the dream, it did what it was supposed to do, and I realized I can't do my job of making videos and running the company and these other things and get the value out of the totes. I'm slimming down to, you know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 tanks there, 13, we're gonna put one there, that'll be 14. These, that's another 19, which I'm on the fence on whether we really get them set up like these or if they're just breeders. So I'm just gonna say 19 on camera tanks. That makes 20, this makes 21. 800 gallon, we only count that as one tank, so that's 22, even though this thing's like an hours long maintenance thing. And then one in the house, so that's a solid 23. 23 tanks for me, as I've really thought about it, and I had to be self-critical, by the way. AquaPro stickers, get them at AquaPros HQ, I think. I had to be real critical of myself because I've been critical of people I've worked for in the past where we had a store, had 300 tanks, and that meant that 10 tanks had to get cleaned every day to keep them cleaned once a month. These 23 basically, plus another 60 in the middle, I was at like 90 tanks. That means I have to clean 3 every single day to stay caught up, and I just can't do that. All right, Ladybird, do your thing. Now the goldfish, great cleaner fish, by the way. People always say they're so dirty, but they're actually very clean. They eat anything. He'll eat her poop, help break it down, pull an algae, eat the duckweed. Any little piece of clam she misses, he'll eat it. Look, he's stealing that clam right there. So yeah, got a few. I'm gonna put all these clams in, then I can't leave them out. And Ladybird can easily eat all these, so. Oh, there we go. All the clams are in. I am enjoying that you guys seem to be enjoying the real life look at the fish room and not just showing you, hey, it looks great today, and then never update, or, you know, maybe if we put a clip in here of the old 800 gallon, like this thing used to be magnificent when it had clown loaches and tiger barbs, but at that time, I only had like 30 tanks and I had more time to dedicate. And that's what I've really kind of struggled with. Let's say I get 20 hours, 5 hours a week, right? 20 hours a month. And I have to decide how to utilize that time. Ladybird was a solid 12-hour day because it takes hours to drain, hours to fill, removing stuff, all of that. It's you know, there's a layer of complexity to all of it. Let's say that's 5 hours minimum a month. That only leaves 15 hours for the rest. And then that's on the good months, right? And I think you guys probably can feel this a little bit like, oh, when things are great, I stay on top of it. When I run into, you know, Christmas and the holidays and we went on vacation, it takes a while to catch back up. And I've been doing that for 2 years and I'm not happy with that. And I don't think you guys are happy with that. So I'm working on that. We still have these books on the way. Oliver's signing them all, which, by the way, he's gonna be speaking for the club, the YouTube member club. If you haven't joined that yet, you might wanna consider it. You save 5% on everything on our website. You can save 5% at, you know, maybe half of our retail partner stores. You get coins and other benefits like his live stream and talk he's gonna do. By the time this comes out, he'll have already done it, but you can watch it after the fact. In fact, you can watch all the ones we've done. We've got like 20 of them now. And we pay a speaker every month that is what we consider to be one of the top people in their field to give a talk. Now this book, we're gonna sell this when we can eventually get it, and there's only like 400 copies left, so it's gonna go quick. But I read this cover to cover when I was on vacation in Maui. And that says something, like I can go to the beach, I can do anything I want, and it was actually after the beach and I was at home just resting. And I read it cover to cover because he had given it to me, and it just has so much cool behind the scenes. It's not a book on how to aquascape. It's a book on his adventure, basically, studying under Takashi Amano for 2 weeks. They talk about aquariums and the day-to-day and everything, but they also talk about the culture of the business and why, you know, like they document the growth of all the tanks. They can see where it might have went wrong, and just, it's on another level. It's not a long read, but it's an enjoyable read. And, you know, something like this, it won't be cheap because they're just, you know, there's only so many of them. I think it's gonna be like, I don't know, 60 or 70 US dollars. Almost no pictures have Oliver in it. He was purely documenting and learning, and he talked about, you know, his struggle to get there and why he wanted to be there, why he wanted to learn, why he studied Japanese so he could go there, and all of this stuff that's very long term. And yeah, so hopefully that book will come. Trying to make some products better. Hopefully I'm in frame here when I do this talk, because that'll suck. Just keep working on the business, keep trying to make stuff happen in the hobby, help retail stores. You know, I've got a couple of goals this year for me. And one of them is read a bunch more books. I bought a bunch of books. 2 is create time to accomplish these goals, which that's been very hard for me in the past. I've just been a workaholic, and even though some of these goals are work related, I want to transition them from work to my passion again, because I still love fish. When Steenfond and I, Bob, went and bought fish, we went to the Wet Spot Tropical Fish, and we went to World of Wet Pets and Pets on Broadway. We went to these places. I didn't film any of it, because the minute I film it, I have to look at it from the business eye. And I wanted to look at it from the hobbyist eye. I'm there to buy fish for my wife and I. We're taking them home. We're gonna set up the tank. It's gonna be fun. And so I'm trying to balance that, which, you know, I don't think that would have been that great of a video anyway, but I wanted to make sure that I started, you know, early in the year of doing the hobby things I want to do again. And I want these tanks
to be my hobby again, where they've been my business for the last probably 5 years. I need to test this light, test this filter, test this airstone, test this thing, test that thing. And when you're testing things, you're not trying to make it look pretty. You're trying to go, okay, let's order the next thing. And so I might sit down to work on a tank and go, oh, you know what, we need to change this. That's 3 hours. Those 3 hours could have been spent making that tank look great. And over time, all the tanks look terrible. That wasn't okay with me. It made me not like the hobby, not like my tanks, because I wasn't in the hobby. I need to scale down, all of those bad feelings that maybe you guys get sometimes. But the best way I know out of it is downsize a little bit, clean up a little bit, change things, make a list of everything you don't like and just start knocking it out. Ask your friend, find a fish buddy and go, hey, can you come over Saturday? I want to do just a whole day in the fish room. I'll buy you lunch and dinner, and I'm going to be getting rid of some stuff. You can have it. Do you want this fish? Do you want that plant? The day before I go and I buy supplies and I just hit it like a whirlwind, because then every day after that, it's that much better. And it might, like for me, it's going to take me 10 of those sessions, right? Because it's in such a scale. Once you're on the other end of that, it's a joy to go trim the pearl weed. It's a joy to make a little tweak on the 800 gallon. And it doesn't look so daunting when it's like, well, once I start on the 800 gallon, I got like 20 hours of work minimum. Now we did a 12-hour day, so now I got about 8 hours of work. If you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up button. Consider becoming a member if you want to support us. You can also buy from us, and that's a great support as well. My new mantra from a live stream a couple days ago, I'm really trying to do that, and I encourage you guys to do it as well, is compliment someone on their aquarium hobby. Just go, hey, I like what you've done there. Hey, that's interesting. Hey, you go to a store. Hey, I like what you're doing over here. Because I think we all need a little bit more of that in our lives. And so, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much. I got work to do.
We hope you enjoyed this video. We actually picked another one that we thought you might like, so click on it right here.